I get asked so many questions about freezing things in glass jars and how to do it safely. I decided to put all of my tips in this one video for you. If you're just meeting me, my name is Amy Cross, and this is the Cross Legacy, where I teach you how to save money on groceries. Our grocery budget for our family is $135 per person, and there's only 2 of us here at the house, so our grocery budget per month is $270 per month. I teach you how I am able to do this through all of our grocery haul videos and a meals series that we put out every 2 weeks. Freezing in glass jars is something that I have done for years, and I want to teach you all of my favorite tips to make sure that it's successful for you and that you don't have any broken jars in your freezer. Now, some things I make in really large batches that we can have it go all through the year. Like when I make spaghetti sauce, I'm making a whole year's worth of spaghetti sauce at a time. And then other times I'm making chilies, soups, and stews. And I want to have it kind of a smaller batch that we have just 2 or 3 extra servings after we have dinner for it. I have learned over the years to make soup in smaller pots, and that way I don't over make the soup, so we don't get tired of it and we can rotate different kinds of soups and stews out of the freezer. I think it's really important when you go to freeze the item that you think about how much you're going to need when you defrost it. So for me, a wide mouth pint size is about the size that I normally will have for a lunch, where Mike needs a little bit more. This is really cold to hold, but this is a 1.5 pint jar. And when I fill it up about 3/4 of the way, that's how much Mike needs for a meal for him. So when I'm doing things that I'm making for lunch, I will do it in the smaller jars, or sometimes I only need a cup or 2 of like chicken stock or beef stock, and I'll also do that in a wide mouth pint jar. When I'm going to use tomato sauce, then I'm more likely to go for a wide mouth quart-sized jar. When you have a jar of marinara sauce or tomato sauce and you're not using the whole entire quart at a time, or even a store-bought glass jar, you can just put the rest of that in the freezer, because in the refrigerator, the tomato sauce will only last 5 to 7 days. If you're new to canning jars, they come in 2 different mouth sizes. So it means the size of the rings and the lids that go on the jars. This is a regular mouth, which is a smaller size. And then there's the wide mouth jars that are a little bit larger, which I also like to use for my produce. If I was starting over getting canning jars, I would just get all wide mouth jars. You can get those in the pint size, 1.5 pints, quart size, and also 1/2 gallon size jars, and that way all the rings and the lids intermatch for all of the different jars. So the things that I think are really important when you are freezing things in glass is when you're cooking something in the evening, that you put it in the refrigerator overnight before you take that item and put it in the freezer. So you want to cool it down to fridge temperatures. Oftentimes I will just go ahead and put them in the jars and then put a lid on top of it, but not the ring. And my family knows to be really careful whenever I do that. If your family isn't so careful with that, then I would make sure that you put it in a container that they wouldn't knock over. This is a 1.5 pint jar. It's the wide mouth, and on the edge here at 1 inch down, it says this is the freezing line. So any of the wide mouth jars, you want to make sure that you leave 1 inch of headspace at the top of your jar when you're filling them up. This is a regular mouth jar. It's not frozen yet. It has tomato sauce in it. This is down to this little line right here, which is 1.5 inches down on the jar. Sometimes I'll even push it down to 2 inches to give it enough space to expand in the jar. So the regular mouth jars have a larger shoulder on the side of the jar, and they're more prone to cracking. So this is really important that you cool it down to fridge temperatures, and then you also leave that headspace. The wide mouth jars have a smaller shoulder for the quart size jar, and that way it doesn't expand and break as much. The wider mouth jars have a smaller shoulder on them, and they're not prone to breaking as easily. But both types of jars you're able to freeze easily as long as you follow those steps. I like being able to freeze in jars because it makes it really easy in my kitchen refrigerator in the freezer. These fit upright in the drawer when I go to open them, so I can have them handy. But they also fit really easily in the door of my stand-up freezer. When I'm going to defrost these, I just put them in some cool water in the sink and let it sit for about an hour, and it will defrost enough for me to be able to get the items out of the jar. Things actually defrost quicker when you defrost them in cool water versus hot water, but you don't want that temperature change to be too drastic too quickly, or it can also make the jars break. Oftentimes I will write directly on the jar with a Sharpie marker, and we even did a video for that because it is such a frequently asked question. If you have any other questions about freezing in jars, make sure that you're asking in the comments. I spend time every single day trying to make sure that I have all of your comments and questions answered. If you're brand new to the Cross Legacy, make sure that you're hitting subscribe. We put out 3 new videos every single week.